we had a little visitor today. I think it's coming to lay eggs. Are you coming to lay eggs, little girl? Are you a little girl and you're coming to lay some eggs up here? You've traveled a long way. I'm not sure what kind this is. Pretty coloring. Hello. Well, this is a special request video on my grow pots. This here is a Myers Lemon. I have it in a 25-gallon grow pot. And I'm just going to show you what I've got growing, and then you can see how what you can grow in them. Okay, a little about the Myers Lemon is I'm growing swallowtails, or I'm letting them kind of enjoy themselves and hopefully become a butterfly. There is one. Let me see if I can get it. There it is. He's right there. You can kind of see. And then here's another one. There's only like two. Looks like maybe just two is left that I have seen. There was quite a few. They pretty well were staying on this limb here. Now they've kind of branched out, and that's okay. I don't mind sharing as long as they don't kill my plant and they're not being overly aggressive. Plus, I think the birds have pretty well gotten most of them, because there was about 10, I'd say, on there, on that little limb, and they've slowly vanished. Okay, so Myers Lemon in a 25-gallon grow pot. And then we have a guava, which I almost lost because it was in a plastic pot, and it did not like that, being in that plastic pot, even though I put a protection around it. I think it was root bound, and that's what happens in plastic pots, is the roots just go round and round and they end up choking out the plant. So what's good about the grow bags is they stop that, and I'll explain a little more about that. Okay, so guava, this one here I almost lost as well. It's a sugar apple, and it had lost all of its leaves, was really looking bad, and now it seems to be coming out good. And these are 15 gallons. My cherry is a 15-gallon. Mango is in a 15-gallon. It works kind of like a bonsai. You're going to keep what should be a large tree, you're going to keep it small. So that means after so many years, 3 years max, I'd say 3, 4 max, is that you're going to take it out of its pot and trim the roots and then repot it. And 15 gallons, they say, well, they'll do good in that. I do think, though, that I will be moving up to the 25-gallon just to give them a little more root, a little more stability at the bottom. Rio Red, I almost lost it. It was planted in the ground, and it was not liking where it was planted. We had another Rio Red that had died, and so I thought, well, hey, I'll just plant it there. But it did not. It was totally yellow, and I could not get it to even come this green, so it's doing a lot better. This is my tote, and I'll explain a little bit on how we did that with the self-watering system. Then mango, 15-gallon. Loquat, 15-gallon. The seeds I started on my asparagus, it's in a 15-gallon. See if I can get some of these to come up so they're not all just waterlogged. There we go. So that's what I've got growing in the grow pots, and we're going to get a fantastic avocado and a Joey avocado. And I'll be using the rest of those two rollers that my honey built. because when you're using the grow bags, you want the air to circulate that whole grow bag. You don't want it to touch any kind of soil. If it touches soil, that grow bag, the roots will go right into the soil, so you really depleted your purpose of a grow bag. Anyway, this is from a dozer, the tracks on a dozer. He just cut those off and then added the treated lumber and put a handle on it, so that way I can, let's see, where is it at? I can stick it, put the handle. He made this from an old fence post, and just pull them along. They just, you roll them where you want them, which I need to pull him out anyway. Loquat over here, Mr. Loki, is reaching out of his boundaries. So now let's see here. Let me explain to you how I do it and what this stuff is around it. Okay, a grow pot is it's just material, a fabric pot. And what that fabric pot, as you can see here, it's just fabric. And so the fabric is real. It lets a lot of air in and it lets a lot of water out. And it doesn't insulate. So when in our hot temperatures, we're 9A here, we get a lot of sun normally, and when we do, that sun bears down on these grow bags, and so it dries them out, and it also it overheats the roots, in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is because you can touch that grow bag and it'll be hot. So you can imagine that the roots are hot. Plants don't really like hot roots. And so I had some bubble wrap that's the double-sided. One side's white and one side's reflective. And I was going to use it in the rabbitry as an insulation from the sun, the heat barrier. Well, it would have worked good, but no matter what I glued it with, it just didn't want to stick. It would lose it, start loosening up off the walls and the ceiling. So I decided, well, that's not maybe the best thing to do, and wondered what I was going to do with all this bubble wrap. Well, I found out. And so I just cut a piece big enough to go around the pots, and that would give enough room to not let the sunshine come in and bake the pot, bake this grow bag, but to insulate and give it enough room around so the air flows. So you're cutting off that root from growing, because what happens is unlike a plastic pot, the roots will just grow round and round and end up choking your plant out. An air bag on these fabric bags, the roots grow out, and once they hit the air, they stop. And then it'll send out more roots and more roots, so it's not choking itself out. But it will become get a lot of roots in there, so that's why you want to take it out after a few years and trim those roots back, like in bonsai. Okay, so I put this around them, and they have just started really, really flourishing. Before that, they were kind of they weren't real happy campers. Now, the grow bags. These grow bags, I like them. They're thick. They've got these holes that you can use to stake out the tree, and it gives you something to tie to if you need that. Also, they got the handles, and they're pretty doggone sturdy. I did buy another one off of Amazon. It was cheaply made. I did not like it, and so anyway, I went back to buying these. Let's go with the potting now. This is how we pot. Is you take your grow bag, you lay it on whatever it is that you're going to be laying it on. Now, I could lay it on this, but the reason why I don't is because we get some really cold weather and in the winter time, and so I wanted to be able to protect them in the winter, but also whenever it starts getting the sun really intense, some of these plants will show signs that they're not liking that much sun because they're still young. And so what I will do is move them. I can move them around, which makes it real easy. And so I didn't put them on the patio. As long as they're not touching the dirt, soil, you're okay. Depending on where you live, you might want to put them on your patio. But for me, I like to move them around, give them a little different, switch them from one side to the other. And they are heavy. I don't care what anybody says. 15 gallon of wet soil, moist soil is heavy, especially with a tree in it. So, okay, so we got the grow bags out the way. Okay, so this is how I do it. You take your grow bag and place it where I'm gonna be putting it at, and then I put the pebbles down on the bottom. I make a layer, and it's about 1.5 inches deep of those, and then I'll add my soil, which is a cactus and citrus mix, and it's through Miracle-Gro. Not a big fan of Miracle-Gro soil, but this so far has been the best that I found. That I can get a hold of. That's not going to cost me an arm and a leg. So then you add your soil in on top of that. You take your tree out of the whatever it was in, and you put it in there, and then you add in the rest of your soil, and you tamp it down and all that good stuff, just like you're planting a regular tree in a pot. I leave about it's up to my first knuckle there. I'll leave enough where I can put a good thick mulch to protect that from the sun. And there I go. And then I'll put the bubble wrap around. Now I will sometimes take that bubble wrap off in the wintertime, and so that way because it gets kind of moist, stays kind of moist in the winter, and I keep them in a heated place so their roots aren't getting cold and hot and cold and hot. But you can also leave it on at all times. So that working out really good. I mean, it's growing mushrooms down here, so I know that it's staying cool enough. It's keeping those roots protected. And if the wind's gonna kind of sometimes take it and move it around for you while you're looking at your plants, just move it back away from the pot. And that is how I do my grow bags. Next is this tote pot. Okay, we made it with an automatic watering system in it. I guess that's what you would call it. It's just a tote. You can see here, just your regular tote. And what we did is on the bottom, we put it where we wanted it. It's got the metal bracket around it, and then we filled it with some stone on the bottom, just about I think about 2 inches of stone. Then we put the perforated septic 4-inch hose all the way around, and we just rounded it until it made like a I'm gonna say about a 1.5 foot hole in the middle of that pipe. And then we filled it, then we put the cover over it, which is a weed barrier cloth. It's professional grade, it says, and it's black. And so we put so we put that over that, and folded it around the edges real good, and put our pipe went ahead and fitted our pipe in there, fitted the cloth around the pipe, so that way we can open that little top right there up, take the water hose and fill that whole bottom up with water, and then it just siphons up into where the tree can use the water as it needs to. Then we put after we put the pipe down where we needed it, covered it up with the fabric cloth, weed bearer cloth. Then that's to keep the soil from leaching down into your water. So then we put the soil in, and we made sure, that the soil went all the way down in the middle where it would be touching the rocks, and made sure all the soil was around and that the barrier was still being held in place, and filled it up with a good quality soil. Then we planted the tree. Now we picked a crepe myrtle because it'll be pretty blooms. It has some medicinal purposes, and they grow fast, and they take our winters and our summers. So it's doing good. It seems to really be growing. I put a little flowers at the bottom. I'm loaded down with marigold flowers, seeds, and so I just plant marigolds everywhere. And so anyway, that's it on the tote. And then you can design the outside, build it however you want, and that's the finished product. And so that's it. All right, well, if you have any questions, I'm going to link about the bubble wrap. I'm going to link about the soil. I'll link about the grow bags. And so hopefully that will help you out. And good luck. Good luck. I'm tickled to death with the grow bags. One last thought. When you water, you want to water, just keep putting the water to them until it starts coming out the middle of the grow bag. You'll see it, it'll start draining down. You'll see it draining down. Stop watering. You've had enough. Fertilize as you normally would a potted plant, and just enjoy. So that's it. And look at those mangoes. I'm so excited. Yes, I'll pluck some of them off. All right, I think I've covered everything. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. All right, y'all have a great day. Bye.